it's me again. I just realized I have enough time, so I'm going to go ahead and make my video about therapy. Let me just start off saying that therapy was definitely not for me. I went to therapy a couple times. At first I really resisted, and then I tried to get with it, and then I was done with it, and then stuff happened, and I was back in therapy, and it was awful. It was a mess. I saw like 4 different therapists on this base, and it was a nightmare. But let me go ahead and start from the beginning. Well, my parents were first suspicious about me before I came out, when they started finding that I was drinking and all that. Drinking, taking pills. They surprised me one day. I was in class, and they were like, go to the counselor's office. And I was like, what? And I didn't even know we had a counselor here, like, downstairs. I knew we had, like, our actual counselor for the school, but there's a separate counselor for drugs and alcohol and, like, domestic violence, all of that. You name it, they do it down there. And I didn't even know that part of the school existed. And I had been here for 6 years already, so it was, like, a shock to me. I went there, and I found out my mom referred me, and I was pissed. I had shit to do in school. Like, I was mad. I was so mad. I had so much stuff to do in school. I was trying to get everything done. It was the end of the year, and this surprise therapy just hit me out of nowhere. And, that actually kind of sparked me coming out and all that, but that's another story. Continuing, after I came out, I became really depressed pretty quick, almost instantly. I was probably depressed before I came out, but didn't realize it until after I came out, and then it just hit me like a brick wall. So I got to the point where I was thinking, I was having a little bit of suicidal thoughts. Like, I wasn't actually going to try anything yet. I didn't thought of anything, but the fact that it was in the back of my head scared me so bad. And I called my life coach at the time, which didn't work out for me either. A lot of stuff didn't work for me, but I made it. But I called my life coach, and I was like, I need a number so I can talk to a therapist. And they ended up telling my parents, and from there, I went into therapy, and I was really mad that she had told my parents, because my parents freaked out. And I went in there, and it ended up being, this is why I did not like therapy, my mother. It didn't end up being about me, it ended up being about my mom. My dad was there, it was a family therapy, except for my brother. I have one brother. It ended up being everything about my mom. Well, Ricky doesn't do this. Well, Ricky doesn't do this. Well, he doesn't do that. Well, he doesn't listen. He doesn't listen. Honest to God, I went to therapy to be bitched at, and I hated it. And so I told them, I was like, look, if I'm going to go to therapy and I'm going to get on these antidepressants that I desperately needed, they had to leave. They just had to, because I couldn't take it. And so they left, and I finally started talking about what I needed to talk about personally, which is something, it might sound a little bit selfish, but when you're in a situation like this where it's literally life or death, you're thinking about ending everything, you need to be selfish. You need to think about you first. I mean, don't be completely just block everybody out, but you need to focus on you. And I just couldn't do that with my parents in the room. So they left, and we started talking about what I needed to talk about, and I got on my antidepressants, which yet again, right move for some people, wrong move for others. Right now, I'm 5'8". Last year, I was 5'8" when I came out. I weighed 134 pounds. I got on antidepressants, and 2 weeks later, I lost 14 pounds. I couldn't eat anything. All I would eat were Mentos, and that was it. I would eat a Mento, and I thought I was going to die because I felt like my stomach was going to explode. The antidepressants helped me a lot in the fact that I wasn't depressed anymore, but it sucked because I was literally deteriorating. You could see, actually took some pictures. You can see all of my ribs. My waist was probably a 26 inch. Right now it's 28, 29. It's still a little bit underweight, but it's healthier because I'm naturally really skinny, but I was borderline about to pass out. I'd be in class, and I'd feel so sick to my stomach to the point where I thought I was just going to start crying, or I thought I was literally just going to shut down. I mean, in my mind I was good, but physically I was just deteriorating, so I got off the pills, which caused even more havoc with my house, in my house, and I kept the antidepressants in there for a while, and I didn't take them. I took them for 2 weeks, and that was it. I could probably make an entire video on the antidepressants themselves because, like I said, I was drinking, and it took me a while to stop drinking, and then I realized you couldn't drink on antidepressants. I freaked out because I was drinking on antidepressants for a little bit, the first couple of days, and I didn't know that, and thank God I didn't get completely hammered drunk because, you know, I was only, 16, 17 at the time. My body wasn't used to this, and I was just getting destroyed all the time. And so that was my kind of therapy, antidepressant type thing. I ended up having to go to therapy one more time. It really pissed me off because of this. It's still related, but it was about a year later. We had an incident at the house, tracing back to all of family problems that we've always had that probably will never be resolved, but that we've gotten to the point where it's like, it's untouchable. Like, it's been focused on so much that there's nothing left to do. Those got rehatched. I ended up in therapy again. Almost, like, I ended up in therapy, like, by, like, order, I think, of the commander. Like, I was, like, I had to go to therapy. The police were at my house. There was a whole scene at my house, which I won't go into detail about. I'll keep that part about my life private. But needless to say, there was this incident in my house. The cops came. No one was hurt. No one was injured. And everyone was fine. But I ended up having to go to therapy for a while. My parents had to go to therapy for a while too. And that was a mess because things had just got better in my life, and therapy once again came up and ruined it again. But even though therapy did mess with me a lot, it did help. It really did. If it wasn't for the therapy, who knows where I would have been. Maybe I would have died in my sleep, overdosed, taking pills, alcohol. Because I got on the antidepressants, it messed me up a lot short term, but in the long run, I think it really helped me. It took forever. It took about a year to get all this stuff situated out, but it kind of did help. I mean, it was stressful, and it was probably one of the worst situations of my life, going to therapy, but in the long run, it really did help me. And, you know, it wasn't instinctive, and I've never liked talking to anybody about this, but you should try it. I mean, one session really won't hurt. I mean, maybe if you don't have the money, you could talk to a close friend, or not a close friend, but like an adult if you're still young. Somebody who has words of wisdom is what I call. But I would really take into consideration trying therapy, but if you're really strongly against it and you know absolutely 100% sure you don't need it because you're fine and you can take care of yourself, then go for it, you know, be strong, be independent. But if you're like me and you were having a lot of problems and issues all at the same time, just too much to process, I would really recommend at least trying one therapy session. Like an hour, like 15, 20 minutes with your parents and the rest of the time by yourself. Because like I said, you need to focus on you and what you have to do, not anything else, because that's not what you're there for. You're there to focus on you. And I think that's all I have to say about the therapy, because honestly, this could be like an hour and a half long video and I have to stop. But again, if you have a question or a comment, you know, just leave a comment or inbox me. I'll get back to you ASAP. I check this account every 3 days. If it's the weekend, usually I'm not on as much, but I will definitely try and get back to you. And just have a good day, you guys. Talk to you guys later.